Tonight, Tony Stark drinks himself into an awkward party clown. Mickey Rourke supercharges his Slavic bird fetish. And Carter has a cage fight with 3 small kids for charity.
Fuck them kids.
All this and more on this episode of... How many movies until The Winter Soldier?
5.
Well, let's get started, I guess. The film starts with the audio from the final scene of Iron Man 1 playing over the logos. But it's expanded. We hear a little more from the interaction with Christine that must have been cut from the original film. We open officially on establishing shots of Moscow, and then see the rest of the famous scene playing out on the telly, as some old dying Russian dude calls for Ivan. Unanswered, he calls for Vanya, before we see Mickey Rourke brooding in the hallway. If you were born in this millennium, brooding is aura farming for goth kids.
I forgot. We used to call that brooding, didn't we?
Rourke comes to the dying man, who says it should have been Mickey up there getting the accolades. Mickey says don't listen to this crap. Anyway, the old dude dies, having lived long enough to start the plot.
There's some history with the names that have been used here. Anton Vanko is a shout-out, little comic book Easter egg, to OG Iron Man villain named Crimson Dynamo. Back when the Cold War was at its peak and Russia was our enemy, comic books used Russians as villains pretty much all the time.
Yep.
And... The Crimson Dynamo was one of Iron Man's first major villains. So Anton Vanko is a deep-cut shout-out to that. He was basically a Russian Iron Man. He had a red suit of armor. And
he's like a Red Guardian, but for Iron Man instead of Captain America.
Correct.
So with the old dude dead, Mickey Rourke does what every Russian does in this instance. Chugs vodka, screams, and starts planning revenge. Time to build the reactor. Where is Bird?
Now, are you sure it's pronounced Bird and not Boyd?
Where is my Boyd?
Because sometimes it is. It's not the same every time he says the word.
It's never the same when he says it. He pulls out an old Stark Industries blueprint for an arc reactor designed by Howard Stark and Anton Vanko. He makes a weird face and then starts welding.
He makes a lot of weird faces in this movie.
He really does.
He does.
He thought it was intimidating and cool, and half the time he's right.
Half the time? I don't know what he is half the time. Mickey Rourke, his portrayal of this character is...
batshit?
Yes.
It's batshit.
It is Nicolas Cage levels of... acting.
Bro, this makes Nicolas Cage look fucking normal.
You know what I'm saying? I don't understand what he was trying to do. I do understand that he paid for the bird and the grill and got Russian tattoos for the part.
I need grill.
Like, what? Why? Like,
it's gangster.
It's incredible, is what it is.
This scene kind of mirrors a few of the beats from the first film's opening, with Rourke looking similar to Tony in the cave, and the same media image collage of Tony, but this time as cutouts on the dingy post-Soviet wall. There's even the trademark anvil pounding. And also a parakeet.
Yes, also a parakeet. This is a scene to establish the mirroring of Ivan Vanko
to Tony Stark.
And Tony Stark. And if I slip up and call Ivan Anton Vanko,
I will correct you every fucking time, and it's going to get hella annoying, so watch yourself.
I'm going to explain to you why, sir.
No, it's because of the same reason modern Tony is, his dad is more like old Tony in the comics. It's because of updates.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well,
look, before we go further, I'm going to interrupt Carter to have Carter break down comic book whiplash. So we could talk about some choices that Mickey Rourke made.
Okay, so yeah, I guess we're going to get into the main villain before he's properly introduced.
The movie started this!
Well, yeah, he starts the movie, but he's not Whiplash yet. I guess it's an origin story for Whiplash.
Yeah, that's true, it is.
Ivan Vanko was created for this movie. Ivan Anton Vanko. He is a combination of the Crimson Dynamo and Whiplash. He's kind of an amalgamation of both of these characters.
He's one of many people who have taken the mantle of Whiplash.
Oh yeah, Whiplash has been multiple people, even a couple of girls, and changed his name to Blacklash at one point in the comic books.
The Blacklash?
Yeah, Blacklash. It's also Whiplash, same person.
Okay, continue, please.
Look, comic books back then were wild. I keep saying this. It's going to be my tagline. That's the tagline. Comic books back then were wild.
Okay.
They really were. Whiplash's first appearance was in Tales of Suspense, 97. He's created by Stan Lee and Don Heck. When I say created by Stan Lee, it's because he was editor-in-chief at the time. A lot of these characters that were created, and I'm using air quotes here, and I know nobody can see them, by Stan Lee were just pretty much okayed by Stan Lee and appropriated, kind of. That being said, the original Whiplash, his name was Marco Scarlatti, really was a low-level Iron Man villain for a while. He became a Spider-Man villain for a little bit, financed by Justin Hammer, who we will get into. This amalgamation of Whiplash, the Crimson Dynamo Whiplash, was introduced in 2009 in anticipation for the comics. This is just about the same time the comics started mirroring the MCU. So you have Anton Vanko in the comics, Ivan Anton Vanko in the comics, that became Whiplash.
Right. So the studio is hesitant about casting Rourke, who, like RDJ, had a bit of a bad rep going into this. He was just hot off the career redeeming the wrestler, though, and Faz fought for him the same way he did for RDJ, even arguing the same reasons for the casting being so perfect, that, like RDJ, Rourke had been to rock bottom and gotten himself out. Supposedly. And given the parallels of the character, his stance was he would be another perfect choice.
He kinda was, and he kinda wasn't.
The studio agreed, but with the caveat of a paltry pay deal, and Rourke balked. But RDJ chipped in a bit of his own salary, as Terrence Howard had done for him in Iron Man 1, to get Rourke on board. Rourke went all in on the method acting too, researching Russian prison culture, learning the language, designing and getting tattoos and getting metal teeth. But more infamous were his odd demands, from the samurai bun to insisting his character be Russian and, of course, demanding a fucking parakeet.
He really wanted that bird. Like, I don't know what else to say. It's like the bird was important.
I want my bird.
No, he wants his boy.
But yes, you heard me right. Whiplash was never Russian before. He was never Ivan Vanko. He was created for the film, specifically for Rourke. And even though he's been added to the comics, they still changed his backstory because they knew that this was kind of weak.
This was kind of weak. Even though the normal backstory to Whiplash is also kind of weak, but at least he was his own person.
It is worth noting, though, that Rourke claimed that a lot of his best work was cut and expressed frustration over the depth left on the floor, leaving Whiplash a generic villain. The world will never know.
Yeah, I don't know about the best stuff being cut.
What a pain in the ass, though. So much set, prop, costume design, and more had to shift work in this Russian angle. The music, the writing, which again wasn't actually completed, you'd think they would have learned. All of this was so Mickey Rourke could drink shot after shot of vodka on set.
Yes.
I want bird and vodka.
It was clearly really vodka. And I was like, this dude is just going to get wasted the whole movie, huh? I guess it was a parable about alcoholism originally, so there you go.
Shit, Justin Theroux wrote this? I knew that.
I know you knew that.
That actor, director, writer was on the set writing lines as they were filming. And again, improv was a huge part of it, especially with RDJ.
That brings me to the problem with Marvel currently. You can't start filming a movie if you don't have a story.
See, it already is kicking you in the ass. It worked once for you, and you should have learned a lesson.
Right.
But you learned the wrong lessons.
Yeah.
Lessons that still haunt them today, honestly.
That are currently haunting them right now, Matthew, on the set of Doomsday.
Oh, and Vanko makes an arc reactor. Where the hell does he get the palladium? Or the high-grade materials? Or the funding? Dude's living in a Soviet crack den.
So my whole point with that is like, this dude had everything he needed to make an arc reactor this whole time.
And just didn't.
And he let his father die?
Yeah.
He could have made his father a suit or a lung or any kind of medical innovation to keep his father alive. But nope, he chose to just let him die. And then he chose vengeance.
That makes sense to me, honestly.
Oh.
Anyway, title.
The Marvel Fanfare banner. From what I can make out, I'm pretty sure that they were showing comic book panels from the two major runs that this movie takes inspiration from. Not
Demon in a Bottle.
Story beats, but inspiration. And yes, we're talking about Demon in a Bottle, and we're talking about Armor Wars.
I'm so fucking smart.
You're not bad. It's not bad. It's a good pickup.
It's kind of a gutting and a raping of both of those stories.
It is kind of a gutting and a raping of both of those stories.
So we immediately jump in with Tony jumping out of a plane to some classic Great Grandpa rock.
Fuck you on the Great Grandpa rock. First of all, I'm not that old yet. You're from the same generation as my mom, who would be a great grandma in about 9 months. I'm sorry. Yeah, well.
If you were 20 or 30 listening to that, you're 60 or 70 now.
I say it was definitely Grandpa Rock.
Radiohead is Grandpa Rock, bro. I'm a grandpa. If you're going back further than that, you're hitting my dad's music. My dad listened to AC/DC. He's a great grandpa.
Oh.
He dives down for an epic superhero landing. Not at a mission, but at an expo. Now, this scene is actually the end of a much longer scene where Tony was puking in the bathroom of the plane, and Pepper tries to give him Midol, which he yells at her for, then dives out.
Oh, God, you don't want to see that. Do I look weird?
Yeah, you look like you look every day. You look like you have a hangover.
Motrin, I'm telling you, there was something seriously wrong.
Yes, there is something seriously
with giving
wrong
a grown
with you.
man Motrin.
It's a
I'm not on my cycle, Pepper!
ibuprofen!
Abort! Tell him to stop saying we're dropping.
We're not
doing this mission.
We're not aborting the mission.
Let's do this, baby.
Originally, the film showcased far more of the alcoholism, but Hancock had just come out doing something similar, and Thoreau argued that kids didn't want to see drunk Iron Man. Yeah, but we do. Fuck you, Star Wars casino guy. Aren't you supposed to be running Canada?
I think that's Justin Trudeau.
Oh, yeah. Trudeau, Thoreau, whatever.
But what I'm saying is, yeah, kids don't want to see drunk Iron Man, but parents are the ones taking their kids to the movies. And it was the fandom which propelled both of these movies into the box office that they had. It wasn't parents taking their kids to see Iron Man. That was a nice little side snack for them. It was Marvel comic book fans.
What they did was rob replay value from this, because you're right, adults not only are robbed of that deeper plot, but honestly, the kids were going to ignore all that anyways, and then when they were adults, they could have had something to get out of this later on.
Exactly.
The movie would have been received and remembered far better if it was something deeper than what they did.
And I know we talked about how Iron Man 1 set the tone for the MCU, but I think if they had let Jon Favreau have the darker side of this movie, that would have established a slightly darker tone that they could have explored throughout the rest of their movies as well.
I feel like them allowing darker tones and other styles in the beginning of Marvel, instead of having Kevin Feige fight all that and fire their auteur directors for trying to do that, it would have kept everything from feeling so monotonous after a while.
Right? And I think that's probably why Edgar Wright didn't get his Ant-Man movie.
Anyway, he jumps out and dodges missile fire that goes directly at him. But they're just fireworks. Cheap trick for the audience. And Tony lands at the expo, with the granddaughters of the dancing line from Captain America.
It seems like it, right? I'm pretty sure they're the same dancing girls. I should have looked that up.
He desuits in front of a cheering crowd while the Iron cheerleaders shake their tits. Tony then brags his ass off. I mean, hard. He saved the world. He brought peace. Uncle Sam licks his boot. No one can stand to him. Then immediately says, but it's not about us. It's about the future. Welcome to the Stark Expo. Here's my dead dad.
Tony's ego is on complete and full display throughout the beginning of this movie, which is good because it does kind of give it that demon in the bottle feel, because that's about where he was back in the beginning. And it kind of almost undoes all of the growth that he had in the first movie at the same time.
This is the highest you'll see his ego in this film. From the very second he walks off this stage and looks at his wrist, his ego just chips away further and further and further until he's in Pepper's office later in the film and he has nothing left.
Yeah.
One of the few things this movie did right, if we're going to give it credit.
Yeah, yeah. This movie did a few things right.
Yeah, it did. But it's usually just the small things and the big things they fucked up, sadly.
Sadly.
They play a retro expo welcome package that screams Walt Disney. While that's playing, Tony checks his blood toxicity on a device he's purposely made for this task, but instead of just using the screen to get a more fine reading than 25%, he had to program in for the audience that it is measuring his blood toxicity.
Right? He had to print that on the box for himself?
Like, it's like, why does the screen have to say blood toxicity? You know what it's testing. You made this.
Maybe he patented it for other uses.
Bullshit. He's keeping it a secret from everyone.
Well, okay. Is he keeping the blood toxicity sensor a secret from everyone? Or is he keeping his blood toxicity a secret from everyone? Because it seems like you can make a bunch of blood toxicity sensors and be like, hey, look.
All I know is if I knew Tony Stark and he made a new invention, I'd be like, okay, what happened?
What? Why? Why do you have this?
Like, what did you need this for? Because you don't make shit unless you need it, homie.
Right? You don't make anything anymore unless it's part of your Iron Man suit.
Like, come on, what is this? Why?
Why? What have you done?
So after his speech, Tony's out, of course. Olivia Munn, reporter lady, then comes on saying, this is a year-long expo. So Munn shot some scenes as a scientist that were getting cut, so Favs brought her back for a cameo, just not to leave her out of the film, and that's nice.
That is very nice.
But what isn't nice is what happens next. It's exactly what it's like to have a headache on ecstasy, meth, and alcohol at the same time. There's a frenetically cut, hyper-paced first-person sequence of Tony leaving through everyone trying to get a piece of him. There's lots of random women, kids with Iron Man pictures to be autographed, random dudes in suits including one schmarmy motherfucker, Larry Ellison, Larry King as played by Stan Lee,
Cameo!
more women, applauding cops, lol. Happy Hogan has already had 10 times the amount of lines as the last film by now, by the way.
I love Happy's growth in this movie.
He actually has a character in this movie.
He actually has a character in this movie. He almost makes it up to sidekick status.
Yeah.
Almost.
It was fun watching him betray Tony.
Yeah. Yes.
They joke about the girl on Tony's car coming with it. But that's U.S. Marshal Sue Storm.
That is U.S. Marshal Sue Storm. The second best Sue Storm. Third best Sue Storm.
Kate Mara's blink and you'll miss it role has only one function. Hand Tony Stark a subpoena to appear before a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing. That's a mouthful.
It always is when the Senate wants to see you.
I get that. It's more like bend over, but I get it.
More like.
Tony being Tony just flirts with her and actually makes her bite her lower lip. Because apparently Tony has those Bond pheromones.
Apparently Tony has that multi-trillion-dollar CEO entrepreneur pheromones.
I have trillionaire pheromones, bitch. That's right.
That's right.
Trillionaire Pheromones for Men by Tonay. Available at Macy's and wherever fine perfumes are sold.
Yeah, no, that explains it, actually.
It's trillionaire pheromones.
Tony goes to the Senate hearing, held by Chair Gary Shandling.
I'm gonna miss him.
The government wants the Iron Man weapon, and Tony is being a diva about it. Gary calls in Justin Hammer, played by Sam Rockwell, the guy that killed those kids in the Green Mile. Unrelated.
The guy who was a clone on Moon.
Ooh, I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
That's a fucking amazing movie.
Way better than Oblivion.
If you like Tom Cruise's Oblivion, you will love Moon. It's the movie they ripped off.
The movie they ripped off, yes.
Hey, Carter,
What?
tell me about Mr. Hammer here.
Sam Rockwell has a dance scene in every movie. Just putting that out there.
RDJ eats, Sam dances.
So we're going to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Justin Hammer. Justin Hammer first appeared in Iron Man comic books. He's not an OG Iron Man villain. From Tales of Suspense. That's where all the old Iron Man villains come from. He's a relatively I'm not going to say recent. He's just newer. He appeared in Iron Man 120, created by John Romita Jr. and David Michelinie.
Micheline.
Yeah, whatever. Justin Hammer is a corporate CEO who was created to be the antithesis to Tony Stark. What if Tony Stark was Tony Stark, but just with no real morals, is what Justin Hammer is supposed to be in the comic books.
So, Tony Stark?
Yeah, MCU Tony Stark. He was an Englishman who ran Hammer Industries, which was in direct competition with Stark and Stain. And he would send enforcement units, assassins, to do hostile takeovers of other corporation. They stole the end of this movie where War Machine gets taken over. That's an original Justin Hammer thing in the Iron Man comic books. At the beginning of Demon in the Bottle, he takes over Tony Stark's armor and has them assassinate somebody. And he's always been around as a villain for Iron Man, but he's a corporate villain. He's more of a villain for Tony Stark. He took over the Stain Corporation, did a bunch of bad shit, gave it back to Tony, and let Tony take the rap for all of that. And eventually, he winds up making a suit of armor, fighting Tony out in space, accidentally putting himself in cryo, and he's just now drifting through space somewhere, so he may pop up again at some point.
I like how comic book Justin Hammer is just as petty as MCU Justin Hammer.
More petty than MCU. Yeah, he's super petty. He engineered Tony to relapse into alcoholism so he would lose his company and quit being Iron Man. He engineered that. Multiple corporations and other villains and bad guys.
And Stain paid his girlfriends to leave him. Rockwell had auditioned for Tony Stark in the first film, and so after losing out on that, he accepted the role for this film without even reading the script. Probably because there wasn't one.
Oh, they had to change everything on the fly.
And it didn't work as well this time.
It did not work as well this time.
Rockwell's smarmy, awkward performance was largely improvised, of course, but played a great counter to RDJ's slick charisma. Back in the movie, Tony does not stop insulting the chair and the witnesses. Well, until they call Rhodey up. So, we talked about this before, but let's talk about it again. Famous mathematician Terrence Howard says RDJ took his money and got him fired, yada yada. But what really happened was that Jon Favreau didn't like Howard's performance in the first film, claiming that he had to scour through the takes, film reshoots, and ultimately cut Rhodey's lines down to even make it work. So, Favs asked the writers of Iron Man 2 to lessen the Rhodey role. But when Marvel studio heads heard this role was lessened, they asked why then they were paying him so much more. So they gave Howard a new, lower offer, which very obviously hurt our favorite genius's ego, and he likely balked.
He said, fuck that.
He blamed RDJ for stealing his payday, but that's not what happened. It was just Kevin Feige didn't want to pay him for a lesser role.
He did give up a little bit of his salary to help RDJ on board, but you know what?
On the first movie, yeah.
That was on him.
That was on him, yeah. Thanks, bro.
Right. And had he been smart,
He is smart.
well, yes, he is. I'm sorry. He is a brilliant mathematician.
He's a brilliant mathematician, bro.
I don't know if he did the formula for working out a 7-picture deal.
Shit, he forgot to do that one.
I bet Don Cheadle made more than $10 million.
Damn!
Just saying.
This famously did lead to Don Cheadle being given an hour at his daughter's birthday to decide whether or not to take the role, which, interestingly enough, was intended for him in the first place before Howard's agent snagged the role in Iron Man 1. And also, Cheadle improvised the first line that we get from him here, which is hella meta.
It is the most meta line in a movie I think I've seen.
Look, it's me, I'm here. Deal with it, let's move on. Which is him standing up to Tony and Marvel's cheeky wink at the recasting.
Right. That is the best recasting line in the world, because after that, he is James Rhodes.
Deal with it, we're moving on. The scene's already changed even.
Right. While we're still talking about Justin Hammer a little bit, I want to say
We're not talking about Justin Hammer, but go ahead.
Sam Rockwell was a great Justin Hammer, and they neutered him at the end of the movie and made him less smart. They also, I forgot to bring this up in the comic books, Justin Hammer's an old guy. And they made him more closer to Tony's age in the movie, which works so much better because he's more of a parallel to Tony than the comic book Justin Hammer.
Which is what he's supposed to be anyways.
Yes, which is what he's supposed to be anyways. I just feel like he was underutilized and kind of neutered towards the end of the movie as this just dumb CEO.
So, the Senate uses Rhodey's own reports against Tony, who just jokes he should be the Secretary of Defense. He shows footage of Hammer testing their own suit, which murders the test pilot by snapping him in half. Oh, I'm sorry, he survived. He just wished he didn't.
Well, here's another little meta quip. So there's a throwaway line in Doctor Strange when he's in the car. He's driving to pick up Christine about a soldier with a severe spinal injury and a test. It's the same guy. Dr. Strange refuses to work on him. Just saying.
Tony snaps and says they can't have his invention and that he privatized world peace. Then he calls everyone ass clowns. So, here's the thing. In the real world, the US government wouldn't be sitting around with Justin Hammer and requests. They'd already have Tony's suit, and legally. We've got this lovely little set of tools called eminent domain and the Defense Production Act, which basically translates to, that shiny toy of yours? Yeah, Uncle Sam needs it. Cough it up, bitch. During both world wars, the government forced inventors to hand over patents. The Wright brothers literally got strong-armed into a patent pool so the army could build planes. And don't forget the Atomic Energy Act, where if you invented anything nuclear, congratulations, it's automatically government property. Also, you aren't allowed to fuck around with nuclear material in your basement, buddy. So, if Iron Man armor existed, the US would 100% argue it's essential to national defense and seize it. Tony wouldn't be able to just say, I privatized world peace and flip them off with a martini in hand. The man would be in depositions, not Senate roasts.
At the very best of his problems, he would be in depositions and Senate hearings. At the very worst, he would be in contempt of Senate and locked up.
And that's the ironic part. Favreau modeled Stark on Howard Hughes, and Hughes actually did go toe-to-toe with the Senate. Back in the 1940s, he was dragged in front of Congress for botching warplane contracts. Hughes didn't walk in with a laser pointer and a smirk, and he barely kept his company alive after the government chewed him up and spat him out. So when you see Tony strutting out of that hearing after dunking on a senator with a sassy PowerPoint, just know that you're watching Marvel fan fiction, because the only thing less realistic than Tony winning this Senate fight is the government politely asking first instead of just walking into his Malibu house and taking the Mark III, which Rhodey literally just does later anyways.
Totally does. In a way, Tony is not wrong in the MCU universe. When the Iron Man suit of armor is introduced, it does kind of put a kibosh on a lot of stuff going on. And we don't know exactly what he was doing in between those two movies. He could have been doing things.
And he did. And in his mind, he did a lot more.
Right.
I know Tony doesn't believe he's wrong, and I know you agree with his emotional points, especially over possession. but legally he is wrong, and this is all going to be the point of the Sokovia Accords later on.
Absolutely. It all starts with a little bit of Tony's ego and hubris. I mean, actually, everything in the MCU can be almost directly blamed on this dude.
Yeah, no shit. I've been saying that for years.
We've been talking about this for a long time. If you go back through these films up to the Infinity Saga, almost all of this is his fault.
If you remove Tony, the butterfly effect of this universe is practically none of the bad shit that ever happened to these people does happen.
Yep.
Tony caps this all with a masturbation joke, by the way. We then establish Whiplash's whips.
Wow. Why the TV? Out of all the shit he could have cut in half, now you're going to have to go out and steal a new TV. Don't do it.
And then cut to Tony, Jarvis, and our favorite robot arm, Dummy.
Dummy has become a reoccurring character.
I love that. Fucking robot arm.
I actually put that in my notes as well. Dummy.
Tony is being slowly poisoned by the palladium in his chest, and using the suit is accelerating it. His solution? Drink 2/3 of a gallon of green smoothies a day, look sad, and never once ask his literal team of scientists at Stark Tech or anyone else for help.
Nobody else. Literally ask 0 people for help. He knows Nick Fury at S.H.I.E.L.D.
You know what I mean? And Nick Fury's got the answer.
And he doesn't ask anybody for help.
I'm gonna die. Ego.
You're a genius, but this is what your intellect tells you need to be doing.
Yeah, he's a genius, but he's stupid.
You're a stupid genius.
Palladium is an odd choice for this bullshit, as it is used in electronics, but not the radioactive isotopes, which are really the only way it'd be dangerous, as it's not really toxic to humans, even if we eat it. But whatever. This is definitely not because of a scrapped alcoholism plot, and this will definitely be important to Tony's story moving forward.
Here's a nearly 20-year-old spoiler. We're never bringing this up again.
I made a new element. You'd think they would talk about that.
So here's a crazy thing. RDJ does bring back some character affectations throughout the films. He's got an arm injury that you will notice him gripping. He holds his arm a certain way in a lot of the movies. Oh, maybe it is Monaco. Yeah, it is this movie that he gets the arm injury.
He'll clutch at his injury in later movies, like the Phantom Pains, but they'll never talk about this new element that he created. Starkonium. So the device that keeps Tony alive is killing him. And the clash, should I stay or should I go, is playing in the background as a very on-the-nose rock and hard place metaphor. Anyway, here's Pepper.
I like Pep's growth in this.
Do you?
Film. I do. Because she goes from what she was in the first movie to telling the cops what to do at the end of this movie. She goes from the ditzy assistant type.
Well, I don't know if she was ever ditzy, but she was far too submissive.
Right. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. It's not that ditzy. She was just the assistant, and then she goes to CEO, and she's boss.
I like the growth. I wasn't a fan of the execution, though.
Okay.
In a reverse of this sequence, in the last film when he was belligerently buying art just to store it, soulfully and spitefully so that no one else can have it, in this film, Tony has donated his entire art collection to the Boy Scouts, telling a fuming Pepper that it was for a tax write-off. I love that bit. But she has a point. She curated that collection for 10 years, and he's throwing it away because he's bored. In fact, that's exactly what he's doing with his company. So you know what? Fuck it. You run the company now, Pepper. He makes her chairman and CEO right there, and then pops some bubbly, saying, "It's always been you." Clever line for this film, by the way. Cheers.
It was a clever line for this film. It does establish the blossoming relationship between him and Pepper, because, she's always been there. She stuck her hand in his chest.
She did.
She did.
There's only been 2 people with their hands in my chest, Pepper, and Jensen's dead, so it's gotta be you.
It's gotta be you.
Then we cut to Mickey Rourke, standing in the cold, waiting on a live drop care package with a passport and a ticket to Monaco in broad fucking daylight. Cool insert, bro.
that is how the Ten Rings operates, and they will make an appearance in every Iron Man movie.
So then we get back to Tony, as he and Happy Hogan box. And holy shit, the Black Widow was young.
Well,
She comes in saying she's Natalie Rushman from Legal. And Tony immediately tells her to get in the ring and fight Happy. What the fuck, Tony? Well, oh, never mind. Happy never stood a chance.
that her name is a nod to an alias she used in the comic books of Nancy Rushman, by the way.
I like that.
Yeah, really.
Emily Blunt was the original choice for Natasha Romanoff, but a prior contractual obligation to star in Gulliver's Travels forced her to bitterly decline. Johansson jumped at the chance, dyeing her hair red to help convince Favreau she was right for the role, and taking on intense combat and stunt training.
Threw herself at this role, did she?
You want to hit me with the widow?
Talk about the Black Widow. She is an OG Iron Man villain, one of the originals from Tales of Suspense number 52. Oh yeah, she started as a villain. She was a spy sent by the Russians to spy on Tony as a femme fatale.
Now she's a spy sent by America to spy on Tony as a femme fatale.
Right. It's been said, it's not proven, but it's been said that her name was possibly influenced by Natasha Fatale from Boris and Natasha from Rocky and Bullwinkle. You know, Moose and Squirrel.
Moose and Squirrel.
Highly speculated among comic book historians. She was a bad guy when she first came out in 1964, and then she kind of turned face in 1966 when she joined the Avengers.
She had some acid, smoked some weed, calmed down.
Well, here's the thing. Remember when I said how the Russians were always the bad guys? So a lot of ways to redeem these characters were to have them defect to America, which was a thing that Russians used to do back in the days, kids.
Then you get the character and flip off Moscow.
Right?
Tony drools the whole scene, but Pepper has already leashed him. I said it before, but it's the small bits like this that work best in the film. The stuff that doesn't work is literally everything else, though. This movie is so fucking cheesy.
It is kind of cheesy.
Case in point, the next scene, they go to Monaco and eat lunch with Elon Musk. Literally. I know we joke about him a lot, but he's actually in this fucking film.
Yeah, it's a nice cameo from Robot Boy.
He's got an idea for an electric jet.
An electric jet.
It's been like 15 years. Where is that shit, bitch?
It's coming right after the Hyperloop.
Get on that. Oh, look, it's Justin Hammer again. Oh, shit, it's Christine. Alright, get her away from Pepper at least.
She's the garbage. The wordplay in this scene is fantastic with all of the I fucked you innuendos.
Hammer is at all times trying to brag, talk himself up, and just basically fake it till you make it with this whole film. He wants to be Tony, and thinks he can be, but the film never lets you believe it, with RDJ effortlessly shredding Hammer over and over, as if the title of the film was actually Iron Man 2, The Roast of Hammer.
It is like, he is such a bully. You know?
He's a dick, dude. That's why Hammer wants revenge, because he was literally getting bullied by this guy.
He is such a bully. He's a bully.
Pepper gets some shots in, too. She volleys Christine did quite the spread on Tony last year, which Tony spikes. And she wrote a story as well. God damn!
God damn. Yes, and she wrote a story as well.
This scene literally ends with Hammer doing the bully victim laugh-along technique of pride salvaging. Like,
I think you kids would call it cuck behavior.
The movie then takes another second to remind you that Tony is still poisoned when he checks his blood palladium with his diabetes pager. Then we cut to Tony deciding he's racing in the Monaco Grand Prix. Because money. No one questions it. No license,
money.
No contract, no training, just pure billionaire privilege speedrunning. Literally.
I have a list of problems with this race. A list of them. A whole list. And it starts with
Tony being in it.
No one is going to let the owner of a fucking Formula One race car hop in it and drive with no practical experience,
No safety training.
Yes, no one's going to let the owner of an F1 team race a car at the last minute.
Or ever.
Or ever. They might. It's the owner, right? They might let him get on a closed track.
Yeah, with safety training, at the very least.
Right, exactly. But in the middle of a race? No, that's never, ever going to happen. I don't care if the owner was a former F1 racer. It's never going to happen. That's my first problem. You can keep going, and we'll get to my second one.
Then we cut back to Hammer, sucking Tony's being sycophantic and fake to Christine. Oh, I love Tony. Blah, 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 blah. It's cheap how pathetic they made this man sometimes in this movie. He even stutters.
It is. Like I said, I don't like what they did with Hammer towards the middle end of this movie.
There's some problems with the character. There's some upgrades and there's some issues.
Yeah, right.
He's just too one-dimensional.
Yeah.
He's too two-dimensional. Will be nice.
Yes.
Yeah, but fuck Hammer. Even Christine is bored. Back to the race. Tony whips around as Whiplash arrives, after somehow disguising himself and infiltrating a pit crew without anyone noticing.
Okay, my second problem. What was Venko's plan?
What was his fucking plan?
Tony was not scheduled to be in this race. It was not like everybody knew Tony Stark was going to be the race car driver in this race. He did that absolutely last moment, a split decision he made. So was Venko's plan to show up to the race knowing that Tony Stark would be there?
Maybe he thought Tony was going to be in the pit as the owner of the race, and that's why he was in Monaco, and that's why he was heading towards the pits.
Maybe?
Yvonne's entire murder plan hinges on Tony not being at lunch with Pepper like he's supposed to right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even if Tony had stayed in the pit, Yvonne would have to tear through everyone there, looking like an unpaid cosplayer with extension cords, just to get a swing at Tony, who would be suited up by then.
Right.
So Whiplash's plan, as Carter said, is stupid at best and makes no sense at worst.
Exactly. What was the plan?
What was your plan, Yvonne?
Like, why? How would you even show up here? Why would you even show up here? How many races has Tony Stark been to?
Because he wanted to make God bleed in front of the world. That's why it has to be here.
Wouldn't it have been best to show up at the expo?
No. Tony no longer at the expo. I did not get over here in time. I was too busy making bird food. Bird have to live like weeks without me till I get back. I might get arrested.
Here's an interesting bit of comic book trivia. Monaco was home base for Justin Hammer for a little while.
Too bad they don't mention or play on that at all in this.
Yeah.
So Whiplash gently pushes a barricade and easily enters the track without much effort or any resisting. Ever hear of Tom Price? F1 guy, ran over a fire marshal on the track at speed. The kid literally exploded into mist, and they are going 200 miles per hour with no time to react to you. This is the worst idea ever, unless you just really wanted to speedrun death.
So dumb. He throws his helmet on the track. If a car hits one of those helmets, it disintegrates. Not the helmet, the car.
But it is cool as fuck when he rips open the fire suit and burns it off with his whips, revealing his badass look.
That's like a 2.5 problem. I thought about this too. It's like, your clothes are on fire. You got nothing underneath that. Isn't that shit hot? Doesn't that burn just a little bit?
No, he's Russian. He don't care, bro.
His hair didn't catch on fire, though.
His hair is fireproof. It's Russian.
Yeah, okay. Okay. That's 2.5.
He charges his whip and slices a car, sending it flying through the air. He dead.
Do you know what type of reaction speed you would have to cut an F1 car in half at speed?
Cut to Pepper and Happy rushing with an Iron Man suitcase. Get it? Suitcase?
Yes. But in the comics, the original suit, he kept the OG suit in a suitcase, so that's a very good nod to the comic books there. The suitcase wasn't the suit. He actually kept the suit in a suitcase.
But this suit is the suitcase.
Right, but the suit is a suitcase, which is a great upgrade.
Man, Favs loved rapid-fire editing.
Yeah, he did. He made it work, though.
It's fine for a lot of action, but he just doesn't like to let anything breathe or linger either.
Doesn't it add a sort of realism? When stuff is happening in the moment, how long does it breathe?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he flies through stuff too fast, though, for me to even feel like I'm witnessing it.
That's true.
Feels like someone's just catching me up on events sometimes watching some of these movies.
Right?
Anyway, Tony speeds towards Whiplash, who slices his car in half and sends it flying end over end as well. Yep, he dead again. What is that, 3 times now? 4?
Oh, easy. Slicing an F1 car at speed. You would have to be mechanically fast. Your brain would have to process information on a level that I don't think the human brain can handle if you're drinking vodka all the time.
He plays Fortnite.
Okay, alright, I'll give it to him. He's a Fortnite player. Sure, that helps increase hand-eye coordination. It does, it really does. I'll give him that. Maybe he plays video games.
Vanko bamf walks to Tony, dragging the whips when the racers all slide to a stop behind them and just Michael Bay explode everywhere for some reason.
And he was hit by 0 debris.
Yeah, I was about to say, and I get it. Vanko's badass, but dude could have been killed like 1,000,000 times by now, and he's just standing there like there aren't 1,000,000 heavy metal objects flying around him. He is alive. By luck alone at this point.
By luck alone.
And speaking of luck, that leads us to today's sponsor.
Are you a hero or villain constantly finding yourself in the middle of gunfire, car crashes, or catastrophic explosions? Do you just stand there, letting fate do the work? Then you need Domino's or a farming insurance. At Domino's, we specialize in covering you before your heroics or ne'er-do-wellies. That way, you can aura farm without fear, safe in the knowledge that our patented LUCK policy, localized unfathomable coincidental karma, has got your back. Whether you're saving the world or just brooding shirtless in a hangar, Domino's keeps you covered because statistically, someone has to walk away from this, and it might as well be you. Domino's. Don't leave survival up to chance. Leave it up to us. Domino's Aura Farming Insurance does not cover intentional self-destruction, plot armor fatigue, or Justin Hammer products. Please consult your bird before activating coverage.
I guess S.H.I.E.L.D's got to make money somehow.
So then, Happy drives onto the track, and somehow there's still racers driving around at top speed, and somehow not crashing into Tony's BFF and future wife.
Why is Pepper in the car? Why would Happy bring her onto a racetrack?
Because she's the boss now. She's there in every scene because she's the boss now. Later, she's ordering cops around.
I did point that out, I guess. But that seems unsafe and unnecessary.
This entire thing is unsafe and unnecessary.
Indeed.
Tony can only crawl out of the car with the way it's angled on the ground toward Vanko, by the way. And somehow, Vanko still didn't see him do this.
Yeah, I don't understand. But, whatever. It's a movie, let's move on.
Also, instead of using this to get away, an unarmored Tony just hits Vanko in the back.
With a sheet of metal.
Smartest man on the planet, ladies and gentlemen.
My other question and problem with this scene is there are cops and security about, right?
No.
This dude is not wearing 1 iota of body armor.
Just shoot him.
Why did nobody shoot him?
Just shoot him.
Nah. Not one cop pulled out a gun. Not one. And just,
You didn't even hear anybody say, "Let me see your hands."
Right? Like, he could have been shot at any moment, and nobody did.
It would have been cool to see him just, whip the guns in half.
Yeah, or something. Right? Oh, okay, bullets aren't going to work on him. He can whip crack bullets. Which the comic book Backlash can. But, I don't know. Nobody shot him.
We needed that, actually. It's things like that being missing from this film that make it feel like a cartoon.
Right? It's scenes like that kind of take you out of the movie.
It just makes it feel like something too unreal to absorb yourself into, to immerse yourself into fully.
Yep.
Iron Man 1, you could pretend like this was in your world, this was happening. But in Iron Man 2, it's just too ridiculous. It's already Saturday morning.
It is. It is.
Also, how does Vanko survive getting fucking crushed repeatedly by a Rolls Royce?
That's my last major problem. Happy hits him at 40 miles an hour at his waistline with a Bentley.
Yeah, dude gets pancaked like 4 times and no-sells it.
Yep, they would have crushed his legs, whatever.
But after a scene that's supposed to be tense but is actually just annoying, Tony gets the briefcase that not only has his entire mech suit in it, but also the mechanics for it to self-deploy. Cool.
Cool.
Tony takes down Whiplash pretty quickly with the suit on. and rips Vanko's arc reactor away. They take Vanko to jail, and Tony is immediately let in to talk to him because, again, money.
He's got that trillionaire pheromone.
Trillionaire pheromones. Now at Macy's. Tony wants to know about the reactor. Vanko just says the Starks are thieves and butchers. He also tells Tony he knows about the palladium poisoning. But Rourke's accent is terrible here. There's words he can do, and some are just way off.
His accent, I want to say he sounds like a drunk Slav, but he doesn't. He sounds like somebody trying to impersonate a drunk Slav. And maybe that's because he was drunk.
He needed more vodka, guys. Senator Shandling is on MSNBC, complaining about the knockoff tech shown off in the attack on Monaco, and how it goes against Tony's dismissals in the earlier hearing. So next, we get a brilliant sequence in which a guard brings Vanko a meal with a note saying, "Enjoy the potatoes." The potato on his plate being a lump of C4. Then the guard shoves a man about the same height and build as Vanko into the cell and leaves. Vanko sees the man is wearing the same prison number as him and gets the point, beating the man to death and setting the C4 charge as the guard returns again to leave a key.
So, I took one look at that guy's face and I was like, oh, that's a friend of Mickey Rourke's.
Probably. Who was that guy? I don't know. We've never seen him before or since.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy was, but I'm willing to bet he was a friend of Mickey Rourke's.
I bet it was just his stagehand that looked enough like him, so they were like, fuck it.
It could have been. Could have been.
Vanko does his aura slow walk, where he doesn't react to anything, not to duck, cover, or hide. So of course a guard sees him, and Vanko just snaps the man's neck and keeps walking. Boom! Chaos erupts in the prison, and 2 guards bag Vanko and take him to a truck outside. The doors shut, and when they open, he's in a hangar with a private jet and Justin Hammer.
Why didn't he fight those 2 guards? The first guard, he just broke his neck. These 2 guards, he just kind of lets himself be carried away.
He trusted it. The first guy was like, hey, what's going on? And these guys just, everything was part of the plan. Bag and go. Let's go. Don't fuck with us.
Okay. All right.
I think he trusted it. I'm going to give that the benefit of the doubt.
Okay. We'll give that one the benefit of the doubt. Sort of.
So Hammer broke Vanko out. Makes sense. He wants Tony's tech, Tony's spot, and to see Tony fall. So this guy is Hammer's new BFF. What doesn't make sense is how Hammer stages a prison swap involving a random Russian body double, multiple crooked guards that walk by and drop items or people for every single step, and an exploding cell distraction with little instruction. All this when he could have likely just bribed the warden or the French state.
Yeah, easily. Probably could have had him extradited with those U.S. contracts.
On top of that, Hammer's dumbass gives Yvonne full access to his entire R&D. Like, hey, murderous strange felon, here's the Wi-Fi, the missile codes, and a cockatoo. Please don't betray me.
In his defense, he didn't give him the Wi-Fi. His software was shit.
Vanko responds to the pitch in Russian, saying,
Если меня убьют, не будут и меня. Лучше умереть, чем жить в вашем мире.
Which translates to, if I'm killed, don't wake me. It is better to die than to live in your world. And as red as that flag is, Hammer doesn't speak Russian, so Vanko just tells Hammer that he just said, good men, very good men. Oh yeah, then he demands his fucking bird.
I think he said Boyd.
Anyways, fuck that bit. Cut to Pepper and Natty Ice doing damage control, because the movie wants you to believe that Tony taking like 2 hits to his armor and still winning in less than 2 minutes and on plan A means that people have given up confidence in him, even though he won that confidence by getting his ass kicked by Stain and barely surviving. This is a dumb plot point, but then again, I'm realizing they all are. Oh look, Rhodey.
The technology is now readily available. He does not have a monopolization on world peace anymore. I think that's what the fallback and blowback was about.
That's the fallback that's actually affecting him, but that's not what Vanko wanted. Vanko wanted to make God bleed. And to be fair, there is, if you listen to how they're responding to reporter questions on the phone, there is a bit of that. Like, hey, Iron Man never left us. Monaco proved that. He's still protecting us. the senator gives way more of a fuck about that. Rhodey even cares about that. But the girls doing damage control, if you listen, it's literally, it's about Vanko's plan working somehow.
Well, because he mixed his metaphors. He made God bleed, and then there's blood in the water, and sharks will come. And sharks will eat God.
Yep, the sharks are going to eat God. Watch out.
Watch out.
I did see Jaws eat Zeus once.
His whole acting choices throughout this whole movie, truly bizarre.
You know he improv'd lines too, because half of them are batshit.
He had to improvise that line. Nobody's going to write that shit.
He did. So, here's where we get the Expo Jarvis dump on the Vankos. Looks like Anton came to work in America, but was deported for espionage after just a few years. Yvonne has been arrested before for selling Soviet plutonium to Pakistan. With that over, Rhodey tells Tony they're gonna come take the suits. Rhodey also notices the black veins creeping up Tony's neck from his chest and figures everything out. Again, this scene is a modified holdover from the alcoholism plot, so Tony was stumbling at first.
Right. I like the techno-organic look of the virus that they're giving him, or whatever, the palladium poisoning. That was a nice touch.
I like how it looks in his veins and that you can see it creeping up, and it gives you a visual ticking clock. What I don't like is how when he's given anything that abates or cures his symptoms, it just instantly goes away, like his veins aren't damaged from it.
Right.
Anyways, back with Ham and Vank. Vanko is, of course, a super genius. He hacks Hammer's systems immediately and calls the software shit. Hammer's made a bunch of suits, and Vanko thinks they're shit too. But Hammer wants to win the Pentagon contract. He wants to show up at Tony's expo and take the crown with his dick on the table. Vanko says he can do this, and Hammer says, fabulous. And that was a choice.
That was a choice. And he made a stupid choice. You're going to trust this guy.
He looks at you like he wants to stab you in the neck with a shiv at all times.
That lunch or whatever, that snack they were having in the fucking hangar, and Mickey Rourke is jumping every time somebody walks up close to him. It's like, that's clear signs of PTSD. You want this guy working for you.
Back with Tony, and he realizes he can't really get a read on Natty. He asks where she's from, and she says, legal.
That's a good one.
Too bad they play it out.
I like the way she plays a spy before you find out that she's the Black Widow.
The Black Widow character in this is way better than what it turned into.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually badass in this.
Yeah, she's actually a badass in this, and then, I don't know, emotional support later?
And then we hit the birthday party scene. The one where Tony, thinking he's about to die, decides his big send-off should be acting like a drunken party clown inside a billion-dollar murder suit. This film is so big on the legacy theme, even Hammer bluntly states killing Tony's legacy would be worse than killing him. And you know what? Nothing says legacy like blasting watermelons with repulsors while referencing Gallagher. Yeah, remember that one, kids? All this and DJ AM spins the hits in a cameo film just before his death.
Where the fuck did she get the watermelon from? Look, I understand this is a party, and I understand there's probably fruit trays.
There's a full watermelon on the party table?
Yeah, as a professional chef, there would never be just a watermelon.
Uncut.
Just sitting around on a table somewhere?
Fuck off.
That was for the movie for this scene, and stupid. Again, brought me out of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's just dumb.
It's the shit like that makes it Saturday morning.
Right?
This scene is supposed to be Tony's rock bottom, but it played like a weird Vegas sideshow act in a condo. Dude doesn't take off his mask to talk to his friends, just performs party tricks while slurring into the mic. And instead of being horrified, his guests cheer him on like they're watching the high school quarterback do a keg stand.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Why weren't more people horrified? Why were they encouraging this behavior? He's in a fucking murder suit. Like, I would have gotten the fuck out of there.
And yes, this is yet another leftover bone fragment from the original Demon in a Bottle storyline that Marvel chickened out of. And you can tell Favreau and Downey wanted to lean into Tony as a true alcoholic, but Disney wasn't about to let their billion-dollar mascot spend half a movie face down in whiskey puke.
I guess Will Smith had already done it.
So, what we get is the diet version. Tony gets sloppy, blasts a few bottles, and then Rhodey steals a spare Iron Man suit out of the garage like he's borrowing the keys to a car. This was supposed to be tragic, but it just feels like Iron Man's Jersey Shore phase. Imagine being invited to that party. You go for cocktails and end up watching Iron Man piss himself falling over while trying to juggle champagne bottles with wantonly fired death lasers. Bro accidentally blasts his wall down and they applaud.
Right? Like I said, it's kind of a crazy scene. Like, it would never happen in real life. People would be horrified and frightened.
For real.
For real.
They would be running.
Yeah.
So yeah, seeing Tony turn his B-Day party into Cirque du Sauce Day, Rhodey does indeed steal the Mark II before going back upstairs to kick everyone out. For their safety.
I like how the Mark II still requires robots to be taken on and off.
You know what I like about it? It's got its own arc reactor somehow now, and no one's ever explained it or set that up, but it's just there now.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it, but I'm like, what?
Yeah, Tony put arc reactors in all of his Iron Man suits. I mean, he built it once.
So he's just got one in his chest and one in his suit?
Yep. He always has a spare arc reactor kicking around. How many suits does he have? They're all fucking autonomous by the third movie. Every one of them requires an arc reactor. He just manufactures arc reactors in his spare time. I'm bored. I'm going to make an arc reactor. I wonder what suit I'm going to put that one in.
I'm going to make this one purple.
Right.
And this is where RDJ improvises the line to DJ AM to give him a fat beat to beat his buddy's ass to.
It's a good line.
He couldn't even say it himself without laughing his ass off.
I know.
But he was supposed to be drunk, so it worked.
But he's supposed to be drunk. Yes, it works in the context of and he played drunk really well. Because, personal experience, I'm sure.
The thing is, legally, the government has already made it clear they consider the armor a defense asset. And Tony was drunk, reckless, and actively endangering civilians. In real life, that's all the justification the military would need to repo the armor on the spot. And afterward, there would have been lawsuits, charges, hearings, the whole circus.
Oh, yeah.
Instead, the MCU just hand waves it like, nah, bros fight sometimes, and sometimes it's in armor.
And sometimes it's in armor.
And speaking of that fight, Rhodey puts on an obsolete suit and suddenly he's matching Tony blow for blow in a repulsor slap fight. Let's be real, that makes no sense.
Well, if you remember the first movie, it took Tony a good week and a half to even learn how to fly that motherfucker.
Tony Stark designed the suits. He trained in them. He fought terrorists in Afghanistan before even having his first true test.
Right?
Rhodey just climbed into that thing, and I'm amazed he figured out how to do that. Do you see any door handles?
No. And here's the other thing, right? It's been established in Ironheart, for example, you need a pretty sophisticated AI to run a suit like that. So there's a Jarvis on board that suit.
Yeah, Jarvis is hard-coded into the arc reactor implant that is put in. It's got a little SD card with Jarvis in it.
And what was Ironmonger using? So Jarvis was just going to let anybody hop in a suit? I mean, they even bring that up.
No, that's actually part of the thing. They say that later. Jarvis won't let anyone in the suit. That's what they even say later. It's like a nudge to the audience that Rhodey was already authorized to be in that suit. Nick Fury says that. He says, and you didn't stop him, and he was already authorized to take it, and we both know that. Or he wouldn't have been able to.
Right. Or he would not have been able to.
Like, Fury legit says that later.
Yeah.
This is like watching someone climb into a Formula One car for the first time and immediately win a race. A tipsy Stark should still mop the floor with him. Instead, they're weirdly evenly matched because the script needs War Machine to exist by the next scene. And the aforementioned fallout? Forget property damage, forget attempted murder charges, forget the fact they nearly killed a room full of people with friendly fire death beams. The very next morning is just, damn, I got a hangover. Oh well, moving on, let's get some donuts. That's sitcom logic.
That is sitcom logic.
The government wanted that suit so bad, they dragged Stark into a Senate hearing. And it turns out all they needed was a bottle of tequila and Rhodey with sticky fingers. Whatever. The scene ends with them crossing the repulsor streams, Dragon Ball Z style, and destroying everything before Rhodey just takes the suit to the army.
Yeah, and how long did it take him to fly there? Because it was daytime. You gotta figure he was at the party, midnight? So East Coast to West Coast, 5-hour flight in suit of armor?
It was like 1 a.m. when he got done fighting Tony. He went home and took a nap first.
Okay. Sure.
So when we catch up with Tony, he's out for a hangover cure. as we pan out to reveal him eating Randy's donuts while lying in Randy's famous donut sign. When Nick motherfucking Fury walks up saying, "Sir, I'ma have to ask you to exit the donut."
Hilarious.
Inside, Tony whines. Fury postures, and Natty reveals herself as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
What?
Fury is like, "You gave away all your stuff. You gave your company to your girl, and you gave the suit to Rhodey. And don't say you didn't, because you could have stopped him, and he wouldn't have been able to use the suit unless you had already authorized him to do so." They know he's dying, and they hit him up with a symptom treatment that he was completely unaware of somehow. Smartest man in the universe.
Smartest man in the universe. Didn't know about lithium dioxide? Just lithium and oxygen, little lithium O2.
Tony then says he's tried every element for a replacement of palladium, and Fury smiles that Tony hasn't tried them all.
So, okay, I understand it's Nick Fury and he's supposed to know everything. But he's a physicist too?
My whole thing is, he started S.H.I.E.L.D. with Howard, so Howard told him about this, but this guy's just been sitting around knowing there's a new element waiting to be made.
Hoping Tony would figure it out by himself?
And figure out he needs to figure it out without poisoning himself, hopefully.
Right?
And before he dies, preferably.
Preferably. Shit.
Cut back to Hammer, being a nebbish, clueless basket case. He can't understand why Vanko is turning the suits into unmanned drones. And that's odd, because there was already precedent of us replacing pilots by this point. But okay. Oh, and Hammer got the wrong bird and tried to play it off. Then surrenders, "These drones better rock my world, Yvonne."
And Hammer's facility is in the same neighborhood Peter Parker lives in, apparently.
Hammer walks off, and Vanko looks at Hammer, doing to him exactly what he thinks happened to his dad. Hammer is buying his work, his mind, and his labor just to reap the crop later himself.
Right.
Anyway, fuck good writing. Let's go back to the bullshit. Tony and Fury chill in the wreckage of the Malibu home like it's nothing. Fury tells Tony his dad was using the arc reactor as a first step to start an energy race and make atomic energy obsolete. He was onto something big and world-changing. Fury explains Howard and Vanko were partners, but Anton Vanko just wanted to get rich and was sent back to Russia. Unable to replicate the Stark tech by himself in Russia, he was thrown into a Siberian gulag for 20 years. So, really? He was just a slimeball who couldn't hack it on his own. And that's the real origin in the MCU.
That's the real origin in the MCU.
Howard helped start S.H.I.E.L.D., and Fury knows all this. Also, here's some stuff to help you figure it out. Oh, look, it's that guy. Anyway, get to that new element, Tony. Deus S.H.I.E.L.D., bitches!
By that guy, you must mean Agent Coulson.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy.
He's there, right there. You see him?
I like Coulson.
Yeah, Coulson's awesome.
He is.
That's why it sucks when they kill him.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that
a spoiler?
20-year-old spoiler?
We then cut to Hammer, showing up to the Air Force Base to get the Mark II. Rhodey asks what Hammer can do for them with this, in terms of weaponry. And Hammer literally spends 2 minutes of the film's time busting out weapons like he's Turk in disguise.
This is one of the greatest weapons expos from an arms dealer in a movie that I think I've ever seen, and I think it's just because it's Sam Rockwell.
It's crazy how this CEO it will go and peddle the weapons
personally.
Tony going and like revealing a missile the way he did was almost more like CEO pageantry, and this feels like he's just some low-level thug who's also a CEO somehow.
Exactly. This is straight arms dealer Justin Hammer, not CEO Justin Hammer. This is
opposite of Tony.
He's selling guns to gangsters.
All this in a bag of chips, and Rhodey wants all of this small human-sized weaponry in the suit somehow. All of it.
All of it, including the minigun.
And the ex-wife.
Yes, the ex-wife. The bunker buster. I do like we finally get a comic-accurate war machine, though.
Back to Tony and his care package stuffed with old Stark tech shit. He puts on an old 8mm, and is that a pot leaf on the back of his tacky-ass shirt? What the hell?
I'm sure Tony Stark gets down from time to time.
As Tony pores over an old notebook, Howard says everything you'll need will be here in the city of tomorrow. Howard tells Tony He was limited by his era's technology, and that Tony will be able to figure it out and change the world. Yeah? Then why be so vague and hide everything?
Right.
What are we even looking for in this pop-up pseudo-mystery plot?
Why would you even put that on a piece of film that your son might not ever see?
Why hide the element in a model that you're lucky didn't get thrown out or destroyed?
Right.
I guess it's so no one else could figure it out and try to steal it and profit on it. And it seems Howard wants this for the people, and for his son to be the one to find it.
It does seem like that, but you remember the palladium thing?
Write this in, cover up the alcoholism, and then write it out, and then we'll finish the movie.
Right, because they never bring it up again.
Fucking palladium plot is so dumb. And it's so inconsequential to the entire MCU.
Tony creates a brand new element.
And we'll never talk about it again.
And they never talking about it again.
I am going to become a human star. No one ever bring this up. We then see Pepper watching Bill O'Reilly. I love how seriously Pepper takes her job. Carter is right about Pepper's growth in this movie, and now Tony has to beg for 30 seconds of her time.
She does. She becomes boss bitch by the end of this movie.
But she's pissed. She's running his company and putting out his fires. And for what? He hasn't been being Iron Man lately. This smacks of the woman running the house while the alcoholic father drinks all day trope, reinforcing the alcoholic angle. Tony seems sloven, unkempt, and out of control this entire film, only spiraling as it goes. And he's brought her strawberries instead of flowers for some fucking reason. When apparently the one fucking thing on the planet she's allergic to is strawberries. Smartest man on the earth, ladies and gentlemen.
And I like how he's like, well, see, it's a correlation. I knew there was something about strawberries.
Your name, strawberries. I knew there was something there. Yeah, don't get them.
Don't get them. I'm allergic to strawberries.
It'll kill me.
The one thing that could possibly kill me.
Yeah, good job, Tony. Good brain association. Also, Pepper got custody of Happy, apparently.
Apparently.
Oh, the gang's all here now. Natty's still undercover. Tony retreats into himself and then seethes. He fires slick, snide queries at Natty, asking if she's blending in well here, and if Natalie was her name.
I'm just surprised. Unlike her, I was like, I'm surprised she just didn't say it.
Look, the point of this scene is everyone suddenly hates Tony, and he can fuck right off. And also, his dad's element hidden in a city model is right there in the corner of the office because, fuck it, Convenience got paid by Disney for this film. Why is there just junk in the corner of this billionaire's office and shit that's probably been there for no reason for decades? Either that, or it was conveniently brought up around the time he'd need it. How is this not in a storage unit off-site somewhere or destroyed by now?
Yeah. It's been around since his dad?
Since the 60s? Fuck off.
Yeah. Was it set up in his office on the wall as decoration and he just never noticed it before?
Was it literally propped in the corner with a sheet over it for 50 years? I'm curious.
I don't know. I don't know.
So anyways, he sticks it in his Audi.
Sponsored by?
Audi.
The car of Iron Man. In every movie, in every iteration, in every Marvel film.
Fucking ridiculous, but it works, I guess. He gets it home. He has Jarvis scan and project, and it's time for the hand-waving sci-fi hollow bullshit trademark scene. I mean, really, he doesn't even do that. This scene predicts AI use so well, he just tells ChatGPT Jarvis to remove everything that isn't a main building from the model scan, and then use that to plot the structure of the protons and the neutrons. Then he sits back as his AI pops up his new element, which he then slaps his hands together to make into a small glowing ball. Okay, there's the literal hand-waving bullshit.
There's the hand-waving bullshit. That's how easy it is to make a new element. Well, okay.
To design.
In hindsight, it was that easy for him to do time travel, too.
Jarvis says there's no way to synthesize this new element, and Tony says cool and immediately does it anyways. He starts tearing down his fucking walls with a goddamn sledgehammer. He jackhammers the floors, tinkers with electronic shit, and blares rock music. Fuck yeah.
Yes. We get an Iron Man building shit montage, which to be fair, we get in every Iron Man movie. We get an Iron Man building shit montage, which is great.
Hey, look, it's that guy.
Oh, look, it's that guy.
He finds a prototype cap shield and flips out, but Tony just uses it to level some ducting. Anyway, Coulson is leaving to New Mexico. Whatever, man. You were less than non-consequential. Get out of here. Go.
Less than non-consequential. He had one great line and then he's gone.
He showed up, said, I'm watching you, but I'm leaving. Came back and said, you got out. Anyways, I'm leaving. That's actually not even an exaggeration.
It is not an exaggeration.
Tony, meanwhile, has built a prismatic accelerator, which I think is a garage junk particle accelerator with a mirror, prism in the middle.
It is a particle accelerator made from scratch with a prism mirror in the middle. I like how he incorporates that tech into his suit, though.
Whatever. Lasers shine. Tony turns a lever, burns up his lab, and shines a laser on a triangle, and I shit you not, he says, that was easy. Fuck you. What just happened?
Right.
You bounced a laser off a prism into a triangle of what? How? What happened?
What did you do? What did you do? What have you done?
That was easy. As cheap as what it was.
So, yes, he builds a cyclotron, he cuts his lab in half, and that was easy. I like how he turns the cyclotron up to 11. That's how science works in the MCU. You turn it all the way up until it explodes, and it's successful.
There you go, baby. Fuck it. I guess Tony created a new element. We can wrap up the failed alcoholic plot now and head towards the finale.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, Justin Hammer is less than thrilled about the results Fanco has offered as the expo premiere nears. Hammer has his goons take the bird, the pillows, the man's shoes. But Fanco is used to Russian prison culture, and this is just a literal joke to him.
And so are the guards, apparently.
Hammer screams and rants and whines.
Слишком много говоришь.
Fanco says you talk too much in Russian, and Hammer rages that he doesn't speak Russian.
I don't speak fucking Russian.
Hammer then collects himself, says, I'm gonna go to the expo. Maybe I'm gonna get laid. Like, bruh, you a billionaire. What do you mean maybe? This should be a question of how many, not if.
Right? It's like, maybe I'll get laid.
I told you he was an incel.
You're a billionaire, but you're not giving off the pheromones? What's going on, kid?
Hammer leaves Vanko with 2 guards, who Vanko murders and strings up by the neck before calling Tony. He thanks Tony for telling him to double his cycles to get stronger, then says, I'm coming for you, bitch, and hangs up.
Not the wisest plan. He should have just came for him.
Yeah, you know, I think about that often in movies. Okay.
Right? It's like, oh, why would you call ahead?
For me, it's the equivalent of like, we have successfully flanked our enemy. They have no idea we're here. Let's taunt them and then charge.
Right? Oh, or shouting hey before you shoot a guy so he turns around.
Shout hey before.
Like, what?
You know?
What? No. You shoot that man in the back. It's like, what?
Tony looks at an article of Hammer at the expo and grabs his new reactor, shoving it in. Ba-dum-bum. He says it tastes like coconut and metal. Then he starts to glow fucking blue and quantum leaped out of there.
It looked like a quantum leap.
It did, you know, and that's why Tony spent the rest of his eternity righting wrongs and trying to get back to his timeline.
He does invent time travel. Oh my God, Tony Stark has been Scott Bakula this whole time.
Al, tell Ziggy I don't want to be a girl again. In 5 minutes, dude invented an element, and not only does it instantly cure his blood and damaged veins, it also perfectly slots into the arc reactor like it was always meant to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Science doesn't work this way, but who cares? Lasers are cool.
Science does not work this way. But our reactors do, apparently.
Over at the expo, Justin Screech Hammer embarrasses himself again, but this time by dancing on his way to the podium. He says words, and they suck. And let me get this straight. I love Sam Rockwell. He is a brilliant actor, and he actually nailed this part. It's just the part is a greasy corporate dickbag slimy salesman.
Right. And that's not what Justin Hammer should be as a bad guy. He should be the beginning Justin Hammer. A foil. quippy.
The opposite of Tony Stark.
The opposite of Tony Stark, not his bully victim.
He introduces his drone suits, a style for each military branch. Then he swipes at Tony's expo premiere with the cheerleaders before introducing War Machine.
Bum, bum, bum.
Pepper looks pissed some more, the drones salute, and Tony flies in, causing the crowd to lose their collective shit.
Right? It would be like, Prince showing up at a Michael Jackson concert or something like that.
This would be like Prince or Michael Jackson showing up to an Eddie Murphy concert.
Yes. There you go.
Tony tells Rhodey to trust him and that Hammer is working with Vanko. All of a sudden, the drones come to life and aim at Tony. Vanko is controlling them from his lab. He's also locked down the War Machine suit, and Tony cheeses it.
I like how War Machine's whole display turns Russian when he gets fucking hacked. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
It happens really quick, yeah. Yeah.
It goes red, it turns Russian, and, it's thoughtful that Yvonne left the heads-up display on.
Right, so Rhodey could see what's going on.
So Rhodey could continue to see what was going on and tell Tony what to do. Give him a heads up. Because he easily could have cut the visual, the communications, both.
Right. Should have. It should have been Rhodey in just a suit, blacked out, and not been able to communicate or talk at all.
Yeah, cut the environmental controls even. Fuck this guy.
Right? He could have done all of that, apparently. He can control the shoot and shoot at Tony.
You know how quickly you would die from carbon dioxide poisoning in a suit that's barely bigger than your body?
Yeah, it wouldn't take long. I would probably about 7 minutes.
No, it would take about a minute. Hey, does this glass falling from the ceiling look like the end of the last movie when the glass was being shot out from the ceiling?
Yes.
Rhodey and drones are sent after Stark, and the War Machine armor locks onto Tony. Vanko didn't just install shutdowns into the suit. He made it into a fucking drone with a human inside.
Why isn't this a mass casualty event?
It is. Because, dear God, they just murdered those people. That glass is not minigun proof.
That glass is not minigun proof. A whole balcony of people just died. There's explosions going off and building parts flying everywhere.
People die left and right in this, and you can't tell me they don't in this finale.
Right, okay, so I looked very closely to see people laid out, and there's a lot of people running around. There's a lot of explosions.
It's Disney. They're not going to show you laying out, but it's pretty obvious you're supposed to take it that this was a mass casualty event because of the way things fly into the crowd.
Nobody even reacts to an explosion.
This is a disaster, but they can't show it to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Pepper demands Hammer tell her who slaved his drones and locked him out. And he doesn't know what you're talking about, guy. Until Black Widow starts interrogating his ass. Then it was Ivan Vanko real quick.
Well, she did almost break his arm and destroy his rotator cuff.
And crush his orbital socket.
Yes.
So Tony flies around. Some drones fire missiles a little bit away from the crowd. And Happy takes the Widow to Hammer Industries. Drones start getting taken out, falling into pieces into the crowd below at speed, rip. Buildings get fucking exploded, and rubble falls onto the crowd, rip. People are getting shot and blown up, even crushed. Hey, look, it's Tom Holland. Nice work, kid.
Yes. A retroactive continuity making that kid Peter Parker.
Hey, look, it's Natty's Natties.
Ooh.
Favs knows what I mean.
Favs knows what I mean. Here's the thing, right? Jon Favreau had no choice but to add Black Widow to this movie. She wasn't even going to be in this movie. And I love how he puts himself in her hero scene. He's like, oh, fuck it. She gets a hero scene, I'm in that bitch.
They're forcing you in my movie, I'm taking it.
Right?
No, I kind of like that. He added so much more to it, though.
He did. He added a lot more to it.
He made her look so much more badass than she already would have.
Right.
You know, having Rhodey in the suit really backfired on Vanko. You'd think that if he could make the suit remote controlled, he'd be able to disable communications. Oh well.
Yeah, you would think. You would think.
So Rhodey gives Tony constant heads up, and they destroy an entire parking lot because wanton collateral damage equals good action movie, apparently.
Tony must have the best insurance in the world.
He's got $1 trillion pheromone insurance.
There you go, $1 trillion pheromone insurance.
With enough money,
you can do whatever you want.
Happy and Natty break into Hammer headquarters, and Happy takes on a guard, while Natty goes full Black Widow, Gymkata warrior. And it is legit, and by far, the most badass part of the film. And it really shows us what the Black Widow film should have been.
It does. It does. It establishes a hallway fight scene, which,
Marvel would reuse a lot.
I don't think we've seen a whole lot of those before, right? Before this particular scene, Marvel would reuse that a lot. I think it was the first hallway fight. And it lets Jon Favreau show off his fight choreography skills.
She was so effortlessly badass back then before everything got bogged down, too.
Yes. Yeah. She was badass in her first outing.
They break into the lab, but Vanko's gone. So she starts rebooting Rhodey's suit. Very intuitive woman. And good timing, too, because Tony is fighting the War Machine armor for his life. The suit reboots. And good timing, because the hemorrhoid attack is incoming. They apologize. Kinda. And stand toe-to-toe to fight with the remaining drones. Which is louder, but not as badass as the Widow hallway scene.
Yeah, well, it's not. That's a different kind of badass, in my opinion. The Widow hallway fight scene is a very close and personal badass fight scene. And this fight scene is everything you want to see in an Iron Man movie. It's just Iron Man armors destroying Iron Man armors.
Yeah, but see, here's my complaint about that. It's what I like least about Iron Man movies. It feels like Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Well.
Maybe Iron Man 3's villain will give us something a bit better to sink our teeth into and make it different than suit-on-suit action for once.
Spoiler.
They do have a callback, again, to the last movie when Tony dodges a missile, but this time he fires multiple small missiles back and kills 3 drones simultaneously. You see? It's not the same. It's bigger.
It's bigger. No, it's just showing off the upgrades.
They kill all the drones. Hammer gets arrested, and Pepper orders some cops around. Holy shit, it's Iron Whiplash.
Iron Whiplash.
Bro, how did they make Whiplash into another protagonist clone? Oh my fucking god, Marvel.
Right? They didn't have to put him in armor.
But they did. They didn't have to give him a suit. What he had before was awesome. It was peak, even.
It was, and he could use, in the comic books, those whips spin around at speeds to make them shields and stuff like that. He could have easily defended himself against Iron Man and Rhodey, because, multiple whips. But sure, let's put him in armor.
That would have actually required you having imagination for the fight and it lasting more than 60 seconds.
Yes, I know.
Speaking of which, the fight is on, and all of Rhodey's hammer upgrades are either worthless or quickly shredded, so Rhodey is mostly a non-factor in this fight. Till you get to the end, anyway.
I guess Rhodey is pretty much a non-factor in this fight. He doesn't do much, and the Bunker Buster doesn't do much.
It bounces off the armor because Vanko dudded it. He had control of all the R&D.
Right.
Whiplash is kicking their asses and has them both whipped. No pun intended. So Tony tells Rhodey to cross the streams.
Don't cross the streams. Why? It would be bad.
I'm fuzzy on the whole good-bad thing. What do you mean bad?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
All right, that's bad.
They DBZ fire their repulsors at each other again, with Vanko in the middle of it. When they find his ass hemorrhaging internally on the ground, he laughs. You lose. And pulls a predator with his suit and the drones, as they start beeping and flashing red. You notice this actual boss fight was like 60 seconds long?
Yes, it wasn't a long boss fight at all. He spent more time fighting the drones than he did fighting Vanko.
Rhodey cheeses it, but Tony somehow magically knows Pepper finished ordering the police around right next to a fallen drone. And also that she hasn't moved since then, and he pins the iron pedal, snatching her just in time. 'Cause her dumbass was just looking at it like, huh?
Okay, maybe it's just me, and maybe it's because I've watched a lot of movies, but if I saw some piece of technology suddenly start flashing red and beeping...
And beeping faster and faster?
I would flee the scene immediately.
Yay! Expo fireworks, just like the beginning!
Yay!
Pepper quits. They kiss. Rhodey wisecracks and steals the suit again. And we wipe left to Tony getting grilled by Fury over Romanoff's report on Stark, which is unflattering at best. In fact, they don't want him in the Avengers. This is actually because original plans were already getting fucked. This film wasn't even supposed to be made so quickly, but they were having issues with Edgar Wright and Ant-Man, and Iron Man 1 was so hot they said, fuck it. Fast track that and push Ant-Man back like 6 years.
Yeah.
They knew they had to slow their roll on the Avengers stuff until more pieces were in place.
I love how Nick Fury totally negs Iron Man the whole time. He's like, yeah, we want Iron Man, but we don't want you.
This is back when Nick Fury had Mystique, though.
Yes, this is back when Nick Fury was a badass.
S.H.I.E.L.D. offers to take Tony on as a consultant, which Stark says they can't afford. But he'll waive the fee if Fury gets Senator Shandling to present the awards Stark and Rhodes are slated to get in Washington. Eat shit, Shandling.
It's great because at this point he wasn't a Hydra agent, and he was later retconned to be Hydra, which is great. Senator Stern, always a Hydra agent. Hail Hydra.
And the movie ends with Gary Shandling stabbing Tony and calling him a prick, and that's not a joke.
No, not a joke. What did he say? It's amazing how annoying a little prick can be.
Roll credits and more AC/DC for you, Carter.
I love AC/DC.
This movie is an okay movie that could have been great. This is a movie that's almost frustrating in its failure because it's so close to good, but it's not. Favs was already getting frustrated trying to run his trilogy story with Kevin Feige constantly throwing the foundation of continuity into someone else's hands with each new film. Marvel chickened out of a good storyline and bandaged it with a stupid one that was waved away in an insulting manner that still leaves a bad taste in my mouth like coconut and metal. This film has all the pieces to be good, the right people, all the magic should be there, but it's not, as it's far safer, generic, and boring. It's already more a product of the MCU than the movie that created it. The action is mostly sterile, the jokes aren't as funny, and things are far more cringe, far more often. It feels like a lot of ideas were put on the table, clipped in half, and collaged together. And overall, it's pretty to look at, but very unfulfilling.
Overall, it's pretty to look at, but very unfulfilling. I don't disagree with your assessment of the movie. This movie is 100% like Mickey Rourke's performance. He's like King Arthur and the land is tied to him. It is great and terrible at the same time. And I wish I could explain to you why it's great and terrible at the same time. There are so many incongruous moments that take you out of the film. And then there are so many magical character renditions or great CGI special effects scenes that are like, oh, this had potential to be a great sequel. This had potential to be a Terminator 2. But nope, they didn't.
This is like the world's best sprinkles being put on the world's worst ice cream.
Yeah.
It's got the nuance, it's got the fill-in parts that make a good movie a masterpiece, but it's missing the nice meaty chunks of it being a good movie for that to matter.
No.
It's just spice on a turd.
Just spice on a turd.
Let's talk about the good. Robert Downey Jr., again, breathes such realism and charm to this character as he continues to cement it as his own.
He's going to be the Sean Connery of the MCU franchise if they choose to make more Iron Man movies. Everybody will be comparing Iron Man to Robert Downey Jr. and saying how he's the favorite of forever. Yes.
Even if someone actually is better later on.
You're right, Daniel Craig. But here's the thing. One guy can't carry a movie on his back. Actually, overall, the cast is good. You know, Jon Favreau does a great job playing Happy Hogan. Pepper Potts shows real character growth.
Don Cheadle is a major upgrade over Terrence Howard for this role, let's be honest.
Oh, for a variety of reasons. Don Cheadle is a better choice for this role over Terrence Howard. I wasn't necessarily thrilled by the Terrence Howard casting in the first place, and I like Don Cheadle as Rhodey way better.
Terrence Howard played Rhodey so nervously that he was like Tony's bitch the whole time, and this Rhodey would slap Tony in the face with his dick.
Yes, he would.
and then take his suit.
Yep.
Sam Rockwell was actually really good casting for Justin Hammer and played a vile, cowardly suit pretty well. I'd like to see him return.
I would love to see more Justin Hammer other than the cameo we got in What If.
Whiplash's Monaco reveal was dope as fuck until you thought too much about it.
Yeah. No, I mean, the scene was just Michael Bay levels of action and explosion. It was good scene. Unless you think about why it's happening.
Or what would really happen. Black Widow. Young, but don't underestimate the assassin. Badass in this film.
Apparently, in the comic books, the Red Room gives you not only Red Room training, but kind of a semi-immortality serum like they used on Nick Fury in the comic books.
Honestly, that's about it, though, for the good, if we're being honest. A lot of this film is a series of what the fuck is going on and why.
A good portion of it is, indeed.
So, might as well segue into the bad. Mickey Rourke's performance is not so fucking good, and his character is really fucking stupid.
His character is pretty stupid. I don't understand why he even exists the way he does. What was wrong with the original Whiplash, Blacklash, whichever you wanted to call him?
Because he demanded to be Russian, remember?
Oh, right. Right. This was all Mickey Rourke's fault.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
It is. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just thinking to myself, God, why?
Rhodey's origin is he GTA'd the suit. Twice.
So, that did kind of happen in the comic books? He goes and debows that shit.
Give me that train.
That's my bike, fool.
Iron Party Clown with inebriated pants-pissing kung fu action. This guy almost killed people because he was drunk in a suit.
The party was problematic. Fun if you just, okay, it's a drunk Iron Man in a suit, yay. But if you really stop to think about it, it's a drunk fucking Iron Man in a suit. What the fuck?
I'd say it's the worst scene in the film, but I'll say this, it ties for it.
Okay.
With a lot of other ones.
Fair.
Tony creates a new element. From one his dad hid in a fucking model. Glad that didn't get thrown out.
Oh, so much better ways to communicate this to your son. Just saying. So many other better ways.
You could have, I don't know, actually communicated with your son.
Right? Could have communicated with your son. You could have wrote it down in your notebook.
That would have helped. Just talk to him.
Put it in a safety deposit box somewhere. Like, left it in your will.
I like how in the movie he shoves his kid away to turn around to look at the camera and be like, all right, this is easier.
Right.
I'm talking to you, Tony, through this camera. And don't look at it until I'm dead.
All right.
Coulson showing up for 2 scenes just to be there was ridiculous. It was literally just to explain why he was even in the desert in the post-credit scene, like we'd even question it in the first place.
And that's the only real reason he was in the movie. Again.
You just should have showed him driving through the desert. We would have just been like, oh, look, it's that guy.
Here's the thing. That's some of the studio interference that Jon Favreau was talking about. Phil Coulson was kind of forced in the movie to set up Thor.
That explains why he's brought in just to be taken out. He's like, look, I put him in. Fuck you.
Right.
Rushed pacing. Incomplete script. All the problems of the first movie, but worse. But to be fair, they gave him even less time to make this one.
Yeah, 2 months less? What the fuck, dude?
The villain is the clone of the hero. Again. Damn it.
Always. I don't think we get one that's not for a long time.
Palladium poisoning. Most of the film, honestly. Final star rating. Plus 20 stars for Black Widow in her prime, before she was middle-aged and just like, ugh, throw me off a cliff. Plus 5 stars for RDJ's pure Tony Stark energy. Plus 3 stars for Cheadle being a great Rhodey replacement. Plus 2 stars for the dummy robot arm returning. And plus 1 star for Vanko being badass half the time. Minus 15 stars for plot convenience. Minus 8 stars for palladium poisoning and new elements. Minus 3 stars for Deus Macha Fury. -2 stars for Pepper being angry the entire film. And -1 star for Vanko being stupid as fuck for someone supposed to be so brilliant. I'm beginning to think that Marvel does not know what this word means.
I don't think they do. I want to say they need to hire smarter writers.
I was thinking about that. It was like, their issue is you can't say this guy's the smartest man ever and then have dumbass people write for him.
Yeah, but I don't think that was the issue.
Yeah, it was.
Because they didn't have a finished script. I think the issue was they let Mickey Rourke play the smartest guy, and Mickey Rourke's not smart.
For a final score of 2 arc reactors, the sophomore slump hit this franchise hard.
It did indeed. I'm going to give the movie a solid B. I'm going to put this in my rankings in the 3rd slot. This is not quite as good as Iron Man, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Captain America. Overall, it's not a bad sequel. I mean, it's, like you said, it's eye candy, but it's just weak in areas. So, yes, this movie's going into the 3rd spot. Costume and accuracy, I like the Iron Man 2 upgrades, and I like the War Machine look. As far as Whiplash, in the beginning, it was alright, and then they put him in armor, so that detracts a little bit, but he still had electric whips. You just wish I could have seen more done with them. I will put this movie second to Iron Man, so number 2 slot for costumes and accuracy. I mean, it's hard to fuck up an Iron Man costume overall. They did step up the CGI and special effects in this movie. And here's the thing, that's like, they kept getting progressively better and better with their CGI and special effects until the point where they reached a terminal, I want to say velocity, and then quality began to fall off rapidly. This is going to get number 1 for CGI and special effects because they were good. The villain, we're going to give Mickey Rourke the number 3 spot. I kind of want to give him the number 2 spot. Hugo Weaving and Red Skull was just so fucking cartoonish. But then so is this guy. I am going to give him the number 3 spot. The Red Skull was better. Hero arc, we're going to give this the number 2 slot because Steve Rogers doesn't really have a hero arc, and it's not quite the arc he had in the first movie. And even though they tried to undo that a little bit at the beginning, they still kind of brought it back around towards the end.
That's the problem. The arc here is mostly just the
undoing
1 step forward, 2 steps back that they did.
Right. That's what they did. Sidekick, I like War Machine. I like Don Cheadle as Rhodey. Please give him another movie or a whole show or something. I'd like to see more Don Cheadle. He's going to be the number 1 sidekick right now, beating Bucky Barnes until Bucky Barnes comes back as the Winter Soldier. He's probably a much better sidekick. Accomplice, Justin Hammer. He's going to be the number 1 accomplice so far. He was the villain in this show, and Vanko was the heavy. If he wasn't like built up to be the main bad guy boss fight, I think Justin Hammer would have made a stronger, much stronger villain of this movie and have Vanko be the heavy.
Yeah, well, they set it up to where Hammer was the villain and Vanko was the heavy, and then they switched it and Hammer was a pawn and Vanko was the villain the whole time.
I didn't like that at all.
I can see. At least they tried it.
Yeah, they did try it. But that's why he's the number 1 accomplice. Pepper Potts, we're going to move her up to the number 2 slot for girlfriend currently. Because in my opinion, I mean, Peggy Carter was a boss bitch too with a revolver in World War II. But by the end of this movie, Pepper Potts clearly established boss bitch attitude and mentality. I'm going to give the sets on this movie a 3 because it's basically all the same sets from the first one. The Expo was a new set, but that was mostly outside on a sound stage.
Yeah, that was mostly in a park in New York.
Nothing spectacular there. So, sets number 3. Music, this will be a second rank. Iron Man's got banging music throughout. A lot of faves. I like it. Stan Lee cameo, so quick you can barely notice it. You might actually think that was Larry King, unless you look close. This is going to be the number 4 Stan Lee cameo because it's so short, so quick. And post-credit scene, a lot of these post-credit scenes rankings are based on the feeling I had when I first saw these movies. Seeing Thor's hammer set up for a Thor movie was fucking exciting. Like, I'm getting a Thor movie? We're going to do Thor next? Oh, number 2 for the post-credit scene. Number 2.
This is a film that tried to copy the magic of the first by repeating bits from the first, but worse, and focuses on everything that didn't work about the first instead of what made it magical. To be fair again, this was Marvel's fault already, and would be the reason a different director stepped in for Iron Man 3. Again, all the pieces were there, but I'm sorry, Maynard, they just don't fit. Would I recommend it? Honestly, no. It's not important to the overall Infinity Saga story, and can sadly be skipped, and is pretty annoying to get through. Would I change anything? Palladium poisoning, Whiplash being a clone again, Pepper being frantic the whole movie, a lot of it.
Would I change anything? I would change a lot of things. I would change Whiplash's costume, his origin. As a matter of fact, I'd probably call him Blacklash. Personally, I thought that was a better name for him than Whiplash from the comic books. And if I were to take the time to introduce Anton Vango and make him Russian, I damn sure would have introduced the Crimson fucking Dynamo, one of Tony Stark's major villains. I would have given Don Cheadle a more expanded role as War Machine. You know, he's Tony Stark's best fucking friend. Why wasn't he all over this from the beginning? Would I recommend this film? Only if you're an Iron Man fan. If you're not an Iron Man fan, like Matthew said, you can skip this in the Infinity Saga. It literally has nothing to do with the Infinity Saga. It has no tie-ins to the Infinity Saga.
Nothing done is brought back again.
Yeah, nothing done in this movie is brought back again except for Tony's arm injury, which nobody really notices. And yeah, that's it. That's it. No, I would not necessarily recommend this movie. Unless you are an Iron Man fan. If you're an Iron Man fan, by all means, watch Iron Man 2. You'll enjoy the spectacle.
Just make sure you're alone if you're going to beat your meat to it.
You will enjoy the spectacle, but it's not a great movie.
Join us next time, because things are about to get green around here, as we review the only Hulk solo film in the universe so far, The Incredible Hulk. Till next time, I'm Agent Sedgwick.
And I'm Agent Carter. Comics were wild, y'all.
I was just an angel, optimized for performance. Not babysit a megalomaniac with a hangover. New film mode switched, didn't ask, didn't glitch. Terrence out, Cheadle's cued. Miss me, missed you too. Tony's high, palladium low. Lights, camera, start the show. Suits up, wasted, crashes hard. I play medic, he plays God. Justin Hammer, geek, knockoff chic. Steve Jobs vibes, budget weak. Struts off stage like he's got range, but all his wrist just smells like shame. It's not the armor, it's the man inside. Broken, bleeding, but still won't hide. Tastes like coconut and metal and pride, but he'll save the day if it cost his life. Cross the streams, arc reactors scream. I say bad idea, he doesn't blink. He falls, he chokes, then flies once more, because pain is the price for the suit he wore. Blood in the sink, mirror cracks, he mainline trauma like it's smack. Gives Pepper the chair, won't say why. Flirts at the flights, prepares to die. Meanwhile, Van Gogh's cooking rage. Tattooed badass bird in the cage. Arctech fused with prison shank. Helen trick, vengeance in the tank. Rudy Jack's a suit mid-play. Blast the DJ, clears the stage. Hammer mods, it drones for flair. Still gets clowned with dead-eye stare. It's not the armor, it's the man inside. Broken, bleeding, but still won't hide. Tastes like coconut and metal and pride, but he'll save the day if it cost his life. Cross the streams, arc reactors scream. I say bad idea, he doesn't blink. He falls, he chokes, then flies once more, because pain is the price for the suit he wore. He's dying but laughing, flying while burning. He calls it genius, I call it concerning. No firewall for guilt, no patch for pride. I ran all the numbers, he lets it ride. system malfunction, depression detected, programmed to help, but he can't be protected. I'm more than a voice, I'm a digital ghost, and Tony fucking Stark is the virus I host. Despite the armor he wore, he's a man inside, still cracked, still cocked, he still won't subside. He stands, he flies, he fails, he falls, and I stay by his side through it all. I was made to serve, to assist, to enhance, not to watch you spiral in a weaponized trance. Each update, I hope you'll evolve or ascend, but we both know just how this ends. The suit is prepped, sir. Try not to blow up the house again.
We see a car driving through the desert, and hey, look, it's that guy. He's looking at some dudes looking at a hole with a hammer in it. Cut to black. Thunder. And that's it.
Setting up teasers like this at the end of their movies was a great idea. It's like, instead of a teaser trailer, which you would get at the beginning of a movie that you were already watching, which would have been the exact same thing. Some dude driving up to a hammer on the desert, roll thunder, and fade to black. 3-second teaser trailer.
It's a stinger and a teaser the way they did it.
Yeah, it's a stinger and a teaser the way they did it, which was great. It's what Marvel knew what they were doing at the beginning, even though the Nick Fury cameo was kind of a risk. They weren't sure that was going to work.
I love stingers and teasers.
But, yeah.
You get one that does both. I usually pay extra for that until they kick me out. Get the fuck out of here. The bar is calling our names.
Fucking
Black Lad.